Hi everybody! In this video I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make the Planet Earth applique for the solar system blanket. I decided to do a video tutorial for this planet and for this planet only because it is the trickiest one of the whole bunch. Go figure, the one we live on, right? So I've made a chart, and this applique, this piece is made from this chart, right? So you should end up with something that looks a little like this. It's obviously not very sharp looking, but you know, on the blanket, when you put it on there, it's gonna clearly look like Earth, right? So it's kind of a work in progress, a little bit of a messy piece. Until you put it on the blanket, it looks kind of funky on its own. But once you sew it onto your blanket, it's going to look spectacular. And it's not as hard as you might think working from a chart like this, okay? The hardest part is the color changes, for sure. So I have everything we need here in the background. And bear with me, I'm still getting over this cold, so if you hear me hack up a lung or sneeze or something, just stick with me. But I've got everything in the background we need here. I've got some scissors for the end. I've got my chart and a pen that I'm throwing around. I've got my hook, and I've got my yarn off here to the side of my little yarn bowl. So one thing you should know, and you're going to be familiar with if you've worked on any kind of Grafgan project, right? This is going to be a little bit messy. Your yarn over here, this is going to get kind of tangled and obnoxious. So just bear with it. It's a really short piece. It's only 10 rows. It's actually fairly quick to work up. I had to do a test piece, this one here for you, because since I worked my original piece, I had forgotten where the decreases and increases go on this chart. So I did work up the sample piece to show you. And it also helped me mark down for sure where the increases and decreases are. So your chart's going to look a little bit different than this one I have here in the video. But I've got, you can barely see them, my little marks here in the corners for the increases and decreases. Yours will be much more obvious and have more steps down here at the bottom. But this is going to be the chart that you're going to use. It's got arrows and numbers, and that's going to show you which direction you're going to be working in. So the very first thing we're going to do to get started is just take our blue yarn and we're going to do some chains, right? Now again, the hardest part is going to be the color changes for sure. I have my yarn off to the side so that it's not getting in the way of the chart in here when we're working, but all right, here we go. So we're just going to make a slip knot, right? And put that on your hook. And then you can see on the chart here, we've got, to begin with, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blue squares and then a green one, right? So this starting chain is going to be a little bit tricky, but you can totally do it. I'm walking you through it. Ready? We're going to go ahead and just chain 5 for the 5 blue squares on the first row. So we'll just do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, like that. I'm going to move my chart off to the side here. Bear with me as I do some rearranging here, but I'm going to move the chart off to the side so you can see and we're not working against the background of the chart, okay? Move some stuff out of the way, move my sample piece. Okay, so we've got our 5 blue chains, right? And now it's time to make a green one. So all we're going to do is take our green yarn, right? Make another slip knot. Throw that on your hook. Now this does not count as a chain, okay? You're gonna pull it through. That does not count as a chain stitch, okay? So we need to do one more chain stitch for the green block on row 1, right? And then we need a turning chain. So since we're still gonna be working in green for the first block of row 1, we're gonna go ahead and work our turning chain in green. So there's our green block and there's our green turning chain, okay? Now you'll notice the blue yarn here is getting a little wonky. You can just tighten that up by pulling on the tail. Now to get started, we're going to work exactly as it indicates on the chart here, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're working a total of 6 single crochets in the first row. The first one is green, the rest are all blue, okay? So we'll go ahead and work our first one here. We're going to skip the first chain on the hook, insert our hook into the second chain space, which is that green one, that first green one. I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop, And then to do the color change, I'm going to work every single color change in this chart in the single crochet stitch of the previous color, right? So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my blue yarn. I'm going to keep it kind of loosey-goosey. Maybe, there we go. And I'm going to pull that blue yarn through those green loops, and that's going to make that color change, okay? Now I need 5 more blue loops, so I'm just going to single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, I'm gonna pull that out a little bit so we can take a look at it. Okay, so now you can see we got 5 blue blocks and 1 green block, right? Pretty easy so far. You're gonna start to notice that your tails, your yarn on the back, we're gonna go ahead and carry that yarn across the back of the piece. It's gonna end up looking something kind of like this, right? So kind of back and forth, we're just gonna carry the yarn. And it's not important because we're going to just, you know, sew this sucker on there. You're not gonna see the back at all. So don't worry about that, okay? Okay, so we just finished row 1, right? I'm gonna put my hook back on here. Whoops, goodness gracious. Lots of tails, so go slow. Use good lighting as always. It's very important when you're working on something kind of this complicated. It's good for your eyes, it's good for your hands, it's good for the work. Just to make sure you use good lighting, okay? There we go. I got that back on my hook now. And now what we're gonna do is look at the chart again. So now you can see, and yours will be much more clearly marked. Mine's in little black pen marks on the blue ink, so it's hard to see. But we're gonna work, we did row 1 already. I'm gonna cross row 1 off, okay? Just cross that off. It's hard to do with my pen. Let me grab a marker. Hold on just a second. I got markers right here. Somewhere. Whew, okay, there we go. Sharpie will show up better. Here we go. Just cross off row 1. Done, right? Okay. Row 1 is done. So now, with my pen, we're going to work on row 2. And row 2 is pretty easy. What we're going to do is we're going to start by working an increase, right? You can think of this increase here. Yours is going to be marked more clearly, obviously. But you can think of this right here, this stitch, as being worked right into the block below, right? That's going to be 2 stitches right there, okay? So we'll go ahead and make that a little more clear. Here we go. So you're going to work these 2 stitches into this block. Same goes for the green at the end, right? We're going to work those 2 green blocks into the green block at the end of that row, okay? All right, so let me put the marker down so I don't mark up my hand or my desk or my yarn. Okay, so we're going to start off with, let me keep this, I should have some tape, and then I could tape that up in the back. Here, let's try this. Ready? Getting crafty. Aha, okay. So we're going to go ahead and work those 2, that increase into this last block of row 1, okay? To do that, I'm going to need a turning chain, okay? So we're going to go ahead and just chain 1 in blue. We're chaining in blue because we're still working in blue. If we were going to work in green, I would change to green, okay? So we chained 1, so now we can turn our work. Now we're going to be working along the back side, okay? So we're just going to go ahead and work that increase. We're doing 2 single crochets into this first block, right? So we're going to go ahead and do 1, and then another 1 into that same stitch. So that's our increase, okay? Move my camera, bear with me. Try and get some better lighting in here. It's kind of hard to see. Believe it or not, I'm in a very light room. Okay, so we got our increase here. That's the first 2 blocks of row 2, right? We need a total for this stretch of color. We need a total of 5 blue blocks. So we did 2, so we're going to do a few more, okay? So here's number 3 in the next stitch, number 4 in the next stitch, and number 5. Now again, we're going to change colors. So I'm not going to finish that last block there. I'm just going to move my yarn to the back. This is the back that we're working on. And then I'm going to pick up my green yarn, okay? Now, this color change is kind of awkward because we've still got 2 blocks here. You're going to want to make sure that we've got 2 blocks here because we're going to keep working in those, even though the yarn looks like it's going to cover it, okay? So we're just going to finish that last block of blue with that color change, keeping that color change loose, right? And then we're going to work our next green block. We're doing 3 green blocks now, according to the chart, right? 3 green blocks in row 2. We're going to work that first green block into that last block of blue right here. There's 1. And then we've got 1 block left. It's this little green one. We're going to work another increase here. So we're going to do 2 blocks. And it's a little tight, but that's okay. So there's 1, and there's 2. Voila. Now, row 3 starts off with the color blue. So I'm going to have to do a color change, okay? So I'm going to take out that very last green block that we did. I'm going to start it over. So there's our 3rd green block. We got 1, 2, and 3 on the hook, okay? So now I'm going to move my yarn to the back. I'm going to pick up my blue yarn from all the way over here, right? It's all the way over here. I'm going to pick up that blue yarn and finish off that color change. So now you can see we got 1, 2, 3 greens right there. And because I'm working in blue for the next round, we're going to go ahead and chain 1 and turn our work. Okay. You could pull on that green yarn to tighten it if you need to. Okay, I'm going to set that down. We'll look at the chart again. We'll mark off row 2 because we just finished row 2. Okay. So here we are. So now row 3, you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 blue blocks, a green block, and then 5 more blue blocks, okay? And again, we're working this increase like so. So we're going to do in this, on top of this green block here, this block right here at the very end, we're going to work 2 blue blocks into that green block, okay? So we're going to work those 2 blue blocks into the green block below, work all the way across, do the color change, work all the way across, and then we're going to do 2 blue blocks into that last blue block to make that increase, okay? And that's going to be your last increase that you're going to have to worry about. We'll go ahead and give this a shot, right? So we're doing our first increase for row 3 into this green block here. We're just going to work 2 single crochet stitches into that same block. There we go. There's 2. Move some stuff around again, sorry. Okay. All right, so there's 2 blocks, 2 blue blocks into that green block. We need a total of 4 blocks for this section of color, right? So we're going to do 2 more blue blocks. So here's a blue one in the next block. And then we're going to start this blue one in the next block here. But we're not going to finish it because we have to do a color change. So we're going to go ahead and change over to green. We got green on the back, right? Pull up the green. Okay, we just finished that color change, so now we're going to do the green block next. But again, we're doing another color change because we only did 1 green block and now we're going to go back to blue. So we just need to pick up our blue yarn again from the back, finish off that color change. Now you can see our 1 green block, right? And then we're going to do 3 blue blocks and then a blue block increase in this last block here of row 2, okay? So we're going to count out the first 3. So here's 1, 2, and 3. And then the last 2 blocks for that row are going to be worked into this last block of the previous row. Just do an increase. So single crochet increase, 2 single crochets in that last block. Okay. I'm also not going to finish that last single crochet because you'll notice in row 4 we're starting with a different color. So again, we need to do a color change. Really easy. All you do is pick up your green yarn from the back, pull that through, okay? then we're going to chain 1 and turn because we're going to work with green first. There you go. You can see we're pulling the yarn across the back side. Nothing on the front side. Front side looks nice and tidy. There's the back side. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Mark off row 3. Now for the next several rounds, we're just going to be working the same number of stitches across the whole row. So no more increasing for a little while. It's going to be pretty easy, okay? Hardest thing we're going to have to worry about is the color changes. And you got that. You're a pro. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and work my first block here. It's 1 green block in row 4 to start with. Right? I'm going to pull my yarn to the back and pick up my blue yarn and finish off that color change, right? So we got our 1 green block. And then we're doing 3 blue blocks. So here's 1, 2, 3, right? Now I'm going to go ahead and pull that to the back, pick up my green yarn. You'll notice they kind of crisscross here. That's okay. Finish off that color change. So we got 1, 2, 3 blues right there. Now we're going to do 2 more greens. Make sure you're working in the right stitches here. So we got, here's 1. And then the next one is right on top of the one from the row before. I'm going to move my yarn to the back again. We're doing a color change. I'm going to finish that color. There we go. Got 1, 2 greens there. That's correct. We're going to do a blue one in the next block. We're changing colors again. So finish off that color there. So we got 1. So there's the 2 blues, or the 2 greens, and then the blue. We're going to do another green one. And then switch again to blue. Okay, so now you can see we got 2 greens, a blue, a green, and then we need 2 more blues. You can see we got 2 stitches left, 1 and 2. Each one of those is going to be a blue one. Okay, so there's 1 and 2. And there we go. So that is row 4. Again, no increasing to worry about. Nice and easy. Now the start of row 5 is still going to be in blue, so I'm going to keep this color. I'm going to chain 1 and turn. Okay, and you can pull on your tail ends down here at the bottom to kind of tighten them up a little bit. You'll notice as we get going, we're starting to make kind of a hexagon type shape, and that's perfectly okay. At the end, we're going to crochet around it and make it look round, so don't worry about it. Okay, I'm going to cross off row 4 on my chart. It's very helpful to just cross off the rows as you go. Helps you keep track. Okay. Now row 5, we're starting off, we've got 3 blue blocks, and then 4 green ones, and then 3 blue ones. It's probably the easiest row of the entire thing, okay? So we're going to go ahead and do 3 blues. So here's 1, 2, there's the 3rd one. We're going to switch colors here, pull the green up to finish off that blue block. There we go. Now we're going to do 4 greens. Whoops. So here's 1 green, 2 greens, 3 greens, the 4th green color. Now we're going to switch back to blue. Finish that off. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 greens there. Now we need 3 blues. So we'll just do 1, 2, and 3. There we go. You can kind of see the resemblance between this and the chart in the back, right? Okay. So row 6 here is still working in blue. So I'm just going to go ahead and chain 1 in the blue and turn my work. You can see we got a little bit of a tangling thing going on here. Oh, that's a little better, isn't it? Goodness. Okay, so a little bit of tangle in the yarn. That's okay. It's going to work out. I'll put this down and cross off row 5. All right, row 6 is also pretty easy. There we go. To start row 6, we're just going to go ahead and work 2 blue blocks. Okay. So here's 1, and there's the 2nd one. I'll pull my yarn to the back. which is, in this case, the front. This is the back side. And then we're going to go ahead and pick up the green. And again, you'll notice our green's all the way over here, but we still have some stitches here, so you're going to want to make sure to keep working in those stitches. So just pull it over kind of loosey-goosey. There we go. We're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 greens, okay? So we're going to go ahead and do 1, and 2, 3, 4, whoops, 4, 5, there's the 6th one. Pull my yarn here, pick up the blue again. Again, those are kind of crisscrossing, that's okay. Finish off that green there, so now we can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 greens. That's exactly what you want. We're going to do a blue one here, then we're going to switch back to green and do another green one. Okay, so there's our blue one. We'll do the green one. There we go. Now row 7 here starts off in green, so I'm just going to go ahead and chain 1 with the green and turn my work. Looking pretty tidy, right? So pretty good. You'll notice that this one looks a little bit better than my last one. I think that's just practice. So if you're not happy with your first one, you can always give it another shot. It doesn't take much yarn, really. Okay, I'm going to cross off row 6 here. See, you got this. It's not too bad. Okay. Row 7. Pull that tight there. Row 7 starts off with a green block. So we're just going to go ahead and start the green block. And then we're switching over to blue. And we're going to do 2 blues. So here's the first blue. And then the second blue. Okay. We're going to switch back over to green. And we're going to do 5 greens. Okay, so we've got 1 green there. Second one right there. Third green. Fourth green. And the 5th green. Okay, so we're going to change back to blue again. We're going to do 2 blues. So there's 1 and 2. There we go. Looking pretty good. Now what's this? Row 8 starts with blue again. So we'll just chain 1 with the blue and turn our work. You can see all the yarn that we've been carrying across the back here. That's perfectly okay. Not going to be an issue. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cross off row 7. There we go. Okay. Now, row 7 here is, or no, row 8, sorry, we're on row 8. Row 8 starts off with 1 blue block. So we'll go ahead and start our blue block. Pull the yarn to the back side, which in this case is the front. We're going to pick up the green. And we're going to crochet 4 green single crochet stitches, okay? So we got, it's a little bit tricky. Again, that green kind of covers over the first one. So there's our first green block. And our second green block. Number 3. Number 4. Number 5 right there. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. We're only doing 4. Good grief. All right, let's start row 8 over again, shall we? Okay. It's important to read the charts while you're going. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we've got our chain 1 on the hook there. So we're going to go do our first block in blue, right? Pull that to the front, pick up your green. Okay. Now we're doing 4 greens, okay? Not 5. So there's your first one. Move that blue out of the way. There we go. And the second one here. Number 3. Number 4 there, okay? Pull that yarn back, pick up my blue, finish off that color. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 greens. That's good. We're going to do 4 blues now. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, pull the blue back, pick up the green, finish off that one. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 blues, and do the last one in green. Now row 9 starts off in blue, so I'm not going to finish this green block here. I'm going to actually go ahead and pick up the blue yarn to finish it off. Chain 1 and turn my work. Okay. So now we're ready to go ahead and start row 8, or not row 8, I'm sorry. Gotta cross off row 8. Now we're starting row 9. We're so close to the end, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna do a decrease. All right, so we're doing a decrease in the blue. We're gonna go ahead and insert our hook here. I'll show you on the chart here what we're doing. We're decreasing, right? We're taking those 2 blocks and kind of turning them into 1. So we're going to decrease through those first 2 there. We're going to do the very same at the end as well, right? Decrease right there. So, put that back up, grab my yarn. Okay, so to decrease, we're going to insert our hook into this green block here, right? And then we're going to go ahead and pull up a loop, insert it into the next blue block, and pull that through, okay? So we just turned these 2 blocks, this green one and this blue one, into 1. That's what you want. So that counts as your first blue block for row 9, okay? Then we're gonna do 5 more. Yep, 5 more. So we're just gonna go ahead and count them out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 there. Now we're switching over to green. Carefully switching over to green, making sure it goes along the back, right? There we go. Pull that up. We're going to do our first green block. We got 2 green blocks in this row, okay? So we're going to do the first one here. And that leaves us 2 stitches from the previous row left, okay? That's going to be your decrease, your last green block. I'm just going to go ahead and work that decrease. Just like that. But I'm actually not going to finish this off. I lied. I'm not going to pull this loop here through because we're doing a color change. So I'm going to get the blue yarn and pull it through there. I'm going to chain 1 in blue and turn my work. Okay, so that's row 9. Last row. Same concept with the decreases, right? We're going to do these ones together, okay? And those ones together there. So cross off row 9, pick up my yarn again, here we go. Starting off with a decrease. This is probably the hardest one because it actually involves a color change mid-decrease. That's okay. All you're going to do is insert your hook here, right? Pull up a loop. I'm going to pull that blue yarn to the back. Insert my hook again into the next green block. Pull up a loop. And yarn over like that. So I got 1 blue block. We're ready to start the next one in green. So go ahead and insert your green. Just like that. And we're changing over to blue for the rest, okay? There's our 1 blue block, our green block. The last 4 are in blue, okay? There should be 5 stitches left here, right? You're gonna do 1, 2, 3, and the last stitch, the last block, blue block number 4 is going to be these last 2 stitches together in a decrease, okay? So we got 1, 2, 3, and then those last 2 there, we're just going to go ahead and decrease those. Just like so. There we go. Now this is the back side. I'm going to go ahead and chain 1, and I'm going to turn it just so you can see it, okay? So now, whoa, yarn climbing out of the bowl. Okay, so now you can see, got a lot of tails and tangles and whatnot in the back here, but you can see we've got this lovely little blue dot here, right, with all the green continents and whatnot on it. You can see we've got, you know, color changes galore. It looks pretty darn good, but you still have that kind of hexagon shape, right? It kind of goes in a little bit and comes straight and comes down. To fix that, it's really simple. All you need to do is just pick up where you left off, right? we left off right here. Here we go. We're just going to pick up here with our hook and basically work one single crochet in each stitch all the way around. It's pretty simple. Just throw my hook back on here, right? And I'm just going to do one single crochet all the way around. And if you like, you can crochet over your ends as you go. What you can do right now, actually, is snip that green yarn. A little long, not too short, you know, but snip the green yarn because you're done with that. Okay, so we're just going to keep doing one single crochet all the way around planet Earth. And you're going to use the same method of crocheting around the planet for Jupiter as well, because Jupiter has worked not so much from a chart, but it's worked in different stripes of colors. So it's the same kind of concept, but not as hard as Earth. Earth was a little bit challenging, right? But easy. You got it. You can do it. Okay, so we're about halfway around the planet now, down here to the South Pole. If you really want, you can throw in some white for Antarctica down here in your chart. Just, you know, go ahead and feel free to modify it. I didn't want to do that because I didn't even want to do 2 color changes, let alone have 3 colors. So if you feel up to it, go for it. You can surface crochet some on there or embroider some on there, you know, sew some on there with a needle, whatever you want to do. I am perfectly content with my bi-color planet Earth here, so I'm not going to worry about it. But if that's something you're interested in doing, feel free. You can go ahead and just add it to the chart, you know, put it on top, whatever you want to do. Sometimes your tail ends get a little tangled. That's okay. All right, we're just about there. We're just going to finish off here with the slip stitch, leaving a big long tail at the end here because you're going to sew that to your blanket. There we go. Okay. So now you can see we've got our beautiful little planet Earth. It's nice and round. Yours might bulge up a little bit. You can kind of see how mine's doing that here, right? It's going to stretch and be okay, but if you feel more comfortable, you can block this actually. Just lay it out on your blocking board with some pins, get it wet, let it dry, and it'll lay just fine. The reason why it's doing that is because of all the color changes. It kind of pulls at the yarn in different ways, especially along the back here. So it's, you know, entirely up to you. When you stitch it on, if you're backing your blanket and you're not worried about how the back of your blanket looks, you can actually use your tail end here, stitch all the way around the planet, and then stitch down some of the blue spots too. Just keep using your blue yarn, stitch through the blue, and that'll help it lay flat too if you're still having problems. So there's your planet Earth. Don't forget to mark your rows off on your chart as you go. Your chart's, again, going to look a little bit differently. The decreases and increases will be a little more clearly marked than they were on mine. And there'll be some extra notes on there as well. So I hope this video has helped you out. This is the hardest planet out of all of them to make. But if you can do this, you can do anything, right? So you got it. Feel free to, you know, rewatch the video as much as you need. It's going to be available for forever. At least as long as the internet is. So feel free to reference it as often as you need to. Hopefully it was a big help to you. I know that I'm a visual person, so I know there's other visual people out there. Sometimes I have a hard time explaining things in a written format, so video lets me kind of show you guys. So hopefully that was helpful. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave me a comment on the blog, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.